Well, good evening, everyone. Great turnout here for our topic tonight on enhancing instruction with Office 365. As you're obviously aware, the district is providing Office 365 to all faculty and staff. And the date I'm hearing is September 6th for students having it as well. So a lot of what we're talking about, what we'll talk about tonight, your students will have access to as well. They're getting student email provided by the district through office.com, through outlook.com, something I did not think I would live to see. Hopefully.
Can I interrupt here?
Sure, go ahead.
This is something we've been researching this week. They've run into too many glitches. The student email will not happen till next spring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The last date I had was September 6th, but eventually, huh?
Well, we even have deans that have never even heard about it.
Yeah, I have to see how it turns out. Eventually. Students are going to have not only email, but also Office 365. So we've already had one good question tonight that happened before we started the recording. What the heck is Office 365? What is it? What is all the fuss about? Thank you, Albert. It is done. And let me turn off my subtitles there, but you can, I've just enabled live captioning. You can get your own live captioning by clicking on the CC symbol in your Zoom menus at the bottom of the screen. The Office 365 is the online version, mostly online version, of what we used to call Microsoft Office. Microsoft's industry-leading personal productivity suite. We think of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, and other applications. And indeed, Microsoft Office offered many other applications, but those are the three that are most commonly used, the most powerful, and the most important in terms of personal productivity and the most generally used. But used to be you had to install Microsoft Office on your local hard drive and manage it yourself. Some years ago, Microsoft decided they weren't making enough money, I suspect, on that. They decided we're going to turn this into something called software as a service or web browser-based applications, which you don't have to install on your local hard drive. You can access through your web browser. Generally, any web browser will do. And though there are certain ones that are supported, but any of the major ones, certainly Chrome, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Apple's Safari, Firefox, all work quite well with Microsoft Office 365. And in doing so, they were able to add a bunch more applications to the suite. And now no one has to buy the disks or download the install package and install it themselves. All they have to do is go to a website, to a URL, and bang, they've got access to the industry-leading personal productivity suite that has practically obliterated all competitors over the years by hook or crook. But that's another story. So that's what Office 365 is. Also sometimes referred to as Microsoft 365. Anytime you see that 365 designation, you're talking about the online accessible version of the Microsoft Office Personal Productivity Suite. And the district has, being a Microsoft shop from time immemorial, has worked out a deal with Microsoft to provide this suite to all faculty and staff, both full and part-time. And eventually, I'm sorry to hear that, Carlin, but eventually to students. We've all wondered how smooth that rollout was going to be. It sounds like maybe not quite as smooth as they'd hoped, but I don't know. I don't have any official word from my dean, but I'm sure I'll be hearing something. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at Microsoft Office 365. We're going to see how to access it, we'll see what's available in it. I'm not going to be able to do a detailed training on every application or any application in Microsoft 365 tonight. Every one of those would require one or more individual sessions of 1 to 2 hours in length to do. But I'm going to give you I try to give you an idea of what's available out there, how to get into it, basics, real basics on how to use it, how to manage your documents, where to find your documents when you create them and save them, how to share those documents with your colleagues and with your students. One of the strengths of Microsoft Office 365, the ability to share and to share content with other people and to collaborate with other people in the construction of documents and other resources. And then we're also in the last slide, though it would probably take up about half the presentation, we're going to look at how Microsoft Office Microsoft Office 365 functions with Canvas in online and web-enhanced instruction, which is our primary concern at Online Learning Pathways. The general introduction to Office 365 is just a means to an end for us. IT will be offering a lot more training on that. They already have some wonderful resources online. Thank you very much for sharing that link, Sandra. We're going to see that again here in just a moment. And so there will be lots of, detailed instruction available on the nuts and bolts of the different applications that make up the Office 365 suite. But if we can't get into it and we don't understand the basic way it operates, it's not going to be of much use to us. So that's what we're going to shoot for tonight. So the first thing you learn, this is axiomatic in educational technology. The first thing you learn about a new software system that you have to use is how to get help for it. Once you know that, you can probably figure out a lot of the rest of what you need to know yourself. But if you try to do something and in a new application, you run up against a brick wall, it's not going to be much fun. You're not going to get much good out of the application. You have to know how to get help. And we have a couple of very good resources available online already at the district. The first one is the IT's Office 365 website. Note I have a link to that here in this presentation. I am going to stop right now. I'm guessing that many of the people who are going to attend tonight are already here. And I'm going to share a link. I created this presentation in Office 365, in PowerPoint 365, specifically in that application. And as with all the Office 365 applications, PowerPoint 365 has the capability to share files with other people We'll see how to do that in a little while, but I'm going to do it right now and give you the link to this presentation. When I put the recording of this presentation online, I'll also put this link in the introduction to the presentation on our Open On Demand site. But let me give it to you right now. If you want to follow along in my slide deck, you can pull that up in another window. Okay, I'll stop talking about it and do it here. I'm going to share it. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this in a minute. There we go. And no, I don't want anybody to be able to edit it, but I want anyone with a link to be able to view it. And I'm going to copy the link to my clipboard. And again, I'll show you I'll show you how to do this in a minute. And I am going to put that in the chat tool. Put that link in the chat tool here. And hopefully everybody is here. And that is going to be slide. There it is. There's the link. All right. So to look at what we've got here, I'll just click on that and it will come up somewhere. There we go. Here's the IT Microsoft Office 365 help site. Gives you a basic description of what's here. We're going to go over that. And it's free. That's nice. To you, somebody paying for it, but you don't have to. Here's a menu over here on the left. You've got Office 365 video tutorials. You've got a frequently asked question list, which they will update as time goes along. Help documents and access to Microsoft Office 365 right from this web page. So this is one link you certainly want to have bookmarked somewhere, and it will be available. Go ahead.
The link, when I click on the link that you put it on the chat box, I see the slideshow.
Yes. Yes. And what I just put on the chat was my slideshow.
Getting an IT website.
And in that slideshow, on the second slide, is a link to that page.
Okay,
so
thank you.
So you'll have that. There's also a web page showing how Office 365 works with Canvas. That's provided by Online Learning Pathways, the folks I work with. And that link is also on this slide. If we click there, here's our Microsoft Office 365 Canvas integration and a video that shows you gives you a lot of information about this. We're going to cover a lot of this tonight, but not all of it. So here's all sorts of guides about how to use Office 365 with Canvas. So those are the two primary help resources right now. IT is also going to be offering training on individual modules of this and so on at some point. And I certainly don't claim to be the world's expert on Office 365, but I will also be available to answer questions when you have them. I think you all know how to get in touch with me, but just in case, let me put my email address here.
Dave, I have a question.
Go right ahead. There's my email address. Yes.
In the PowerPoint that you sent us, those so-called links are not active.
Yeah, I think because we cannot edit or anything like that, just the view is what we are allowed. So I cannot get the link.
That's interesting. Well, they certainly should try some. Well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'll tell you what I'll do, just to be on the safe side, because since I don't care what happens with this after tonight, I can always fix it. Let me go ahead and make it editable and see if that helps.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for letting me know, because that shouldn't happen, but there may be something I forgot to do. All right, let's see. Let me go back to that and change that to.
And Dave, I had a comment too.
Go right ahead.
The district's website, I looked at it a couple weeks ago because Peter Maharaj had sent out an email with that link in it. That's how I knew it was there.
Right.
The video tutorials page so the district website has a video tutorials page. It goes to, it says Outlook, but it actually goes to Word. And at least it did 2 weeks ago. And then they go through the Vision Resource Center. That's where it's going to link into. So you need to have an account on the Vision Resource. It's a state chancellor's office, Vision Resource Center.
Right.
So FYI for anybody that's.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that they're still working out the kinks on that.
Yeah. But it's worth it. The Vision Resource Center is awesome. They have absolutely awesome training in there. And the other thing I noticed when I was in there, they had updated their. It's actually called Learning Microsoft 365. That's the video for an overview.
Right.
It used to be called Office 365, but now it's Learning Microsoft 365. That's the latest. They just updated that.
Basically the same thing, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is, but it does have a few new little things in it. So
yeah, but I've already had that question from someone. Oh, what's the difference between Microsoft 365 and Office 365? Well, branding. I just changed the name, mostly. Okay, let's see. Now I have an editable link, and let me share that with you in chat. We'll try that. Okay, and I will, when I put this in the on the on-demand site, I'll make darn sure those links are active. Okay, so those are your primary help resources. They will evolve over time and they will get better, but there's already a lot of information there. We also still have access through LinkedIn to what used to be to an amazing set of tutorials on Office 365. And those will be linked into that page as well. And that's part of what's available on the Vision site that you mentioned. Okay, so the first thing we have to do to be able to use Office 365 at the district, be able to access it. And there are several ways to do that, confusingly enough. And every one of them looks a bit different. But the one that they're recommending, the one which is linked into that IT website, is a service called My Apps from Microsoft. Basically, this is the URL here in the slide deck. That is also linked to that website that we looked at a moment ago. Let me bring that back up.
Dave, can you put that link into the chat box?
Yes, I will.
My app. Sorry, my app.
And it's accessible in this help page from from IT right here. But you can do just this. Let me copy that. Come on. Maybe easier just to type it.
Dave, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Does Office 365 include Microsoft Access?
No, I have not seen that it does.
Okay.
Not our version
Package.
of it here at the district. There may be a way you can get that, but I'm not aware of it.
Dave, you had
It's certainly not in
discrepancy.
it's certainly not in my apps.
You have a discrepancy here. The one you just posted in chat,
Yeah, it should be HTTPS.
not what's on the slide.
Right.
Okay,
I can edit there. Here, let me edit that real quick.
but thank you for posting it. That's much easier than trying to go back and forth, trying to save it.
Going from one website to another, right?
Yeah,
Okay, let's see. There it is.
I just clicked
I
on it.
just
You
noticed
said,
that myself. Yeah. Okay, so if we go to this website, here's what we
it's
see.
not accessible.
I have the same problem too, cannot access.
Yeah, you said this site cannot be reached.
I'm sorry. You mean on the shared slides?
No, I just typed in my apps, sdccd.edu. I got a message saying this site cannot be reached.
Oh, maybe it's not working right now.
Well, no, here it is.
Accessible.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I have the
Let's go
same
back to
problem.
the,
I
let me
click on the link
sure.
in the chat. and I see-
myapps.sdccd.edu. That is the link. If you note there, the tooltip, that is the link here. And if I click on that, I go right to this website initially, which is, let's try accessing it from the, from here.
Yeah, this works. Yeah, so don't worry about
Does
it.
seem to work. Yeah. Okay, good. And there's a little bit of description here, but then we have this button that says go to my apps. And that's where we will access the apps that we have available in our version of Microsoft Office 365 or Microsoft 365 here at the district.
I'm sorry, it says site not able to be reached on mine. I just went. I don't understand how to get to it.
What did you click on?
HTTPS, myapps.sdccd.edu.
Yeah, that will not work. You have to go to my app. You have to go to my SDCCD and then click my apps from there. That will work.
You go to my SDCCD, then what? .edu?
Okay, so Dave gave you 3 links, right? So click the first link.
Sure. I'm not sure what's happening there because if I just bring up a new tab here and go and on the location line, type my apps.
Yeah, this will not work for us.
It doesn't work. Oh, you have Microsoft.com.
And I do, you may be prompted to sign in. Looks like it might. And there I am.
Well, the guy that was just talking, could you tell me how you got on?
Yeah, so go to the chat box. Go to the chat box.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, look at the first link that Dave gave you. Click on that.
Oh, okay.
Did you click on that?
Hold on, I'm gonna.
Okay.
I can do that.
Let's make sure everybody can access this, indeed.
Yeah, so go to the chat box, click the
And
first link that Dave gave you. Did you do that?
When I click on that link,
Done
just
it.
be the slideshow presentation.
No, the second one is a slide. The first one is not.
Oh, first one, okay.
Oh, well, I came on late, so I don't have the first one. Sorry.
So that one has a
look.
timestamp, 6:07 p.m.
No, I don't
I
have.
can't get in on it either.
I don't
Maybe
have.
it's because I have an Apple computer.
I have Apple.
That should not matter because you're going into a web browser.
Could you put the first one on again?
let me take a look and see exactly what we're talking about.
I can do that.
I just
Oh, would
put
you?
it up.
Okay, thanks.
So hold on for a minute.
The
Let me do that.
district support site, right?
I put the support site up. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, there it is again. Good.
Okay, I'll try that one.
And
Okay, so I
on
just
that site is a link labeled My Apps over here on the left.
Mhm.
Should be able to click on that, get this web page up, and at the bottom is a button labeled Go to My Apps,
Oh,
and that should allow you to get in. Oh, I'm not sure why you, for me at least, the
I
URL.
got in, all right.
okay.
You do have to be logged into your Microsoft account, but normally it will prompt you to do so if you try to access that resource.
So I didn't, I got on, it says San Diego Community College, Microsoft Office 365. And then what do you do
Excellent.
after that?
Yeah. If prompted for login credentials
No,
for
I
that,
wasn't.
Huh?
your login ID is your full district email address, whatever at sdccd.edu.
Uh-huh.
And the password is the same password you use to access your email at the
Okay.
district.
Yeah.
So that will get you in. You do have to, and typically, if you're using Office 365 a lot, you'll stay logged into your Microsoft account all the time. And if you let it, Windows will just log you in automatically every time it boots up. And it's a little less likely to happen on a Mac, but you can always log in with that, with those credentials and access your Microsoft Office 365. And that works just as well on a Mac as it does on a PC. There's even a OneDrive app for the Mac, so that's separate. So
Well, I see it has on the left video tutorials, et cetera, but so I just click on My Apps then?
My Apps will get you to the apps. We'll get you to my Office 365. And that's apparently the safe way to do it. I don't know why some folks are able to access it through the just through the URL and others are not, because clearly that is possible, but I don't know why it's working for some and not for others. But this should always work.
Well, there are a million apps.
There are a bunch. We're going to take a real quick trip through those here in a minute.
Yeah, so Dave,
Yes.
We teach 2 courses that require Microsoft Access. So that has been a kind of a problem.
That's something you'll have to discuss with your dean.
Okay.
I'm imagining they could probably give you that access, but I don't know. I know I don't have it, but then I'm not contract faculty either. But certainly access is available in Office 360, can be made available in Office.
So if IT,
So that sounds like an instructional need that needs to be communicated to IT, and that would have to be done through your dean.
Okay.
And I can't imagine that would be that would not be accommodated.
So maybe Mesa will pay a bit more fee to Microsoft.
Yeah, I don't know what might be involved, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint slide there for a minute. So that's how we access it. There are, regrettably, 2 tiers of service here. Contract employees, full-time faculty, contract staff get the full, well, I won't say full version, but they get a version of Microsoft Office that includes locally installable apps, which are somewhat more capable. Non-contract employees and adjunct faculty receive the cloud or software as only the cloud or software as a service versions of the apps, which are somewhat less capable, but still very powerful.
So if they go to an island, they will not be able to use it.
I'm sorry.
So if the non-contract employees go to an island where there's no internet, then they cannot use the service.
That is correct. They can't use it offline. I really can't speak to the reasoning behind that. I suspect that it's economic. I'm not sure. Certainly not advocating for that solution, but that, that's way above my pay grade these days. So that would be something also to mention to your dean, given that I'm assuming that still 70% of the classes at the district are taught by non-contract faculty.
Well, it could be that they are giving it to the contract instructors strictly on their office.
I honestly, I don't know, and
but that would be something.
I am allowed to address here, or that I should.
Okay, understood.
I will mention that the mobile apps for Microsoft Office are and have been for some time free. Apps that will run on your smartphone or your tablet, your iPad, your Android tablet, are completely free and have been for quite some time and are quite powerful. So that's some consolation, perhaps.
Where do we find your recording?
Our recordings are always found on our open on-demand website at sdccdolvid.org. This link, I'll put that in the chat tool. I always try to do that at least once. Whoop, sorry. Wrong URL. I didn't recopy that. Sorry. That's like it. There's the link. You'll also find that link in the signature of every email I ever send out. So if you get an email reminder from me, or any email from me, it will be in that. The link will be in my signature at the bottom of the email.
Okay.
And the recordings are provided in the workshop archives area of the website, right here in the top navigation bar, right in the middle. Yoo-hoo. It's coming up, he said. Web browser. Oh, no. Web browser is going slow for some reason. Now, why is that not coming up?
Are you looking for the recordings?
Well, no, I'm clicking on the link and it's not coming up, and I'm not sure what's going on. Let me see here. Let me try something else. Begins to look like there's something going on with this website. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that, but it's going to be under workshop archives.
Okay.
I don't have any idea why that is not coming up right now. Let me try another. Well, yeah, I'll try this real quick.
Dave, for the locally installable apps, how do we install that?
We'll get to that here in just a moment.
Okay.
We are going to cover that. All right. Shoot, this website is not functioning as it should. And I'm going to have to go in and take a look at that.
Mm.
But they will be available there shortly. All right. I suspect I need to reboot something there. Okay, so those are your tiers of service. And these are the apps provided in My Apps. We saw a moment ago how to get to those. By going to the My Apps page and clicking on the button labeled Go to My Apps. And this is by far the most efficient, if by no means the only way of accessing these Office 365 apps. And this is the selection of apps that is generally available. There may well be other apps that are added to certain groups. And that's something I hear about Access is the one thing, the major application that's not listed here. And there's gonna have to, I'm sure there must be some accommodation for that you'll be able to find out through your dean. But the big three are here: Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. They're just in alphabetical order here, not in significance order. And also OneDrive. We're going to spend a lot of the remainder of tonight talking about and using OneDrive. So I want to make sure everybody's comfortable with exactly what that is. OneDrive is Microsoft's cloud storage resource or site. It gives you space on the web to securely store your documents and other files created in Microsoft Office, in the different Microsoft Office applications. All faculty and staff, and eventually students, as far as I know, will be provided with a terabyte of storage space, online or cloud storage for files in OneDrive. That's 1,000 gigabytes. If you're not getting into storing large amounts of video on OneDrive, which is probably not really a good idea, there are other places to do that. That's more space than any of us will use in a lifetime. That's an astounding amount of cloud storage. And the district is providing that to everyone. They even provide that to me. And I'm nothing anymore. I'm just a consultant. So that's probably the most remarkable resource, or one of the most remarkable resources you have in this whole thing here. You can access your files in OneDrive by just clicking on that icon in the My Apps page. And here's my OneDrive. And there are all the files I have stored in it at this point. I'm using just a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction here of my available space. And I also have this sync button. And if I click that, which I've done before, and wait a while, that will synchronize my OneDrive with my hard drive. And the files that are stored in OneDrive will be copied to my hard drive. So I have access to them offline. And this can be done automatically. You just click on it and it says, we're syncing your files. You can close this and it'll finish, and you don't have to sit around and wait for it to happen. And that's a good idea in case you need to get to a file and your internet is down. And you'll find those files in your file manager. Let me pull up a file manager window here. Where'd that open up?
Can you save individual ones to your hard drive, or do you have to do the whole group?
Yes, but it's a two-step process. I'm going to show you that in a moment.
Okay.
Good question. But they will be found on the Windows File Manager is what I'm using right here. I have actually two OneDrives. I have a personal OneDrive that's under another email, and my sdccd.edu OneDrive. And I can access all of those files from there as well, offline, because I have previously synced everything. And that can be very handy. On a Mac, this would show up in your Finder. So, let's see. I see OneDrive just by going to the login for Microsoft Office. Yes. OneDrive is accessible from all sorts of places within the system because it's really that sits at the center of the system. Because all of the Microsoft Office 365 apps save content to OneDrive by preference automatically.
I missed what you said about Mac, something, because I happen to have a Mac. You said something you can access it
In the Finder.
Oh, okay.
In your file manager, the Mac equivalent of the File Explorer on the Windows machine. So you always have access to these files. If you're online, you have access to these files on any computing device because there are OneDrive apps for everything, for all computers. There's even a OneDrive app for a Linux operating system. There's a OneDrive app for the Mac. There's a OneDrive app for the iPhone, one for the iPad, one for Android. So no matter what computing device you are using or where you are, if you have internet connectivity, you can access your files. So this is tremendously powerful. You're never without critical files as long as you've got internet access. And indeed, you can sync this to your computer, as we've just seen, and have access to these files.
Dave, I just
Yes.
clicked OneDrive on my browser. It says access denied. You don't have permission to access this resource.
Have you logged into your district Microsoft account?
I don't know what that is.
It should prompt you to do that when you try to access OneDrive, but there is a link that will help you do that. It's on that website that we looked at earlier. Let me find that. This one. Log in to SDCCD Office 365.
Okay.
If you go here, it should prompt you. It's just,
Ooh.
well, this is because they haven't migrated my email account. So that should not happen for you. I've just been going back and forth with them on that today, as a matter of fact.
I clicked
That should allow you to log in. If it does not,
it went straight
want
to
email.
my.
and this is an email you need to know, you probably already do, but the District IT Help Desk is providing support for this, for the nuts and bolts of Office 365, because we at Online Learning Pathways don't have access to the management console for this. But it's
Dave,
IT. Yes, go ahead.
I clicked on login to SDCCD Office 365. Then I went right into my emails, district emails.
Right.
There's no prompt for username and password. I just saw all my emails.
It just takes you to your email.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what it's supposed to do.
So I saw my inbox.
They still have some work to do on this, but you should also, all right, let's look at another way that you should be able to log in.
So when I click on login, I saw my inbox.
You should also be able to go open up a web browser and go to office.com. Okay, which is the Microsoft Office 365 website. And it took me right in. But if I had not been logged in, it would have prompted me for my user ID, which is my district email account, district email address, and then asked me for a password, which is my district email password. And then it would have taken me right to office.com, which is an alternative way to access the Microsoft Office app of 365 apps. So if you're not getting in through My Apps, this should allow you to access it. And if that doesn't work, then we probably need to do some individual troubleshooting on that. And the folks who are tasked with doing that, I'd be happy to help if I can. But the folks tasked with doing that are the IT help desk. They certainly want to know if you're having trouble accessing this resource. And that email, there is a phone number, but my advice is to send them an email, ithelp@sdccd.edu. And then they will have they'll have a record of your problem and will be much more likely to be able to fix it for you.
Is the apps, it says apps at the bottom on the left there. Is that how you get to apps?
That's the stuff that's not listed on the left here, because I have this window zoomed in a bit so that it's clearer for you on Zoom. And normally these would also be available down here. There are a few apps on the My Apps page that don't show up here, and I have no idea why. But the basics show up here. And this is an alternate way to access your Office 365 if for any reason any of those links are not working for you. And yes, I know this is very much a work in progress, and they're still putting those websites together. And I'm having been in projects like that and so on, it's not too surprising that not everything is not working right away, but it's good to know that there are workarounds if you need them. And this is one way to get into your Office 365 apps if you can't go through My Apps or through that IT help desk site or IT Office 365 help site. This will work. This is how I usually access them anyway. And you will be, when you log in, you may be prompted with your district email address and your district email password. You may be asked whether you want a work account or a personal account. Be sure to select the work account, and that will give you access to the apps provided by the district, as opposed to ones that you could have for free off the street. So hopefully one of those methods will get you in. If it does not, send me an email and we'll get together and work on it and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Dave, how did you show your current panes?
I'm sorry?
The leftmost part on
Yeah.
my screen is the same as yours, but to the right of that, I see.
Oh,
something
no,
different.
these are my files.
Okay.
This brings up my OneDrive automatically. And these are my files. Yours would be different, or perhaps there may be none there at this point.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, good question.
But on the left, where did you find? How do you go to
Just
OneDrive?
bring up a web browser. Safari should work fine, or Chrome or Firefox, and go to the address line on the web browser and just type office.com, one of the easier URLs to remember. Microsoft got that one early on. They paid someone a bunch of money for it, as a matter of fact, as the story goes. And once you've logged into your Microsoft account, it should take you right in to OneDrive with the apps here on the left, in a bar on the left.
Yeah, you only have like maybe 10 apps, but there are maybe like 30.
There are,
apps.
like I said, there are more apps on the My Apps page than are showing here. And I don't know why. But you can get into the major apps here for sure.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's probably the most critical thing we're going to do tonight is figure out how to get into these apps. The My Apps is convenient, and it's a convenient way to look at these. I'm just going to take a real quick trip through these and talk about what they are. I'm not going to try to teach you how to use every one of these. We obviously don't have that time. The Class Notebook and OneNote are note-taking apps. The Class Notebook is just a specialized version of OneNote. OneNote's been around for quite some time. It allows you to create small, highly portable documents that you can access quickly from any device. And you can share these notes with other people and things like that. It's, again, we don't have time to discuss the app in detail, but OneNote is one of the major apps. We've already looked at OneDrive, which is the core of everything. Excel, of course, is the spreadsheet app. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time worrying about that. So it looks like my internet connection is getting a little congested here, so I'm not going to wait on that. But Excel is your spreadsheet.
Dave, can you just show us how, okay, so we make something and we want to share it with other people. How do you, where's
I am definitely going to show you that.
Okay, perfect.
That's a coming slide. Delve lets you keep track of what you've been doing recently. I was working on that document the other day. Where did I save that? Well, Delve will help you find the stuff you've been doing recently. And if you're collaborating with people, it will let you look at what they're doing. So you delve into your Office 365 file space. Someone asked, is there any way to create writable documents in Office 365? Well, yeah, there's Office 365 Forms. If you've used Google Forms before, this is Microsoft's version of that. You can create surveys, quizzes, and forms of all sorts in this, which is a good thing because when we move from classic quizzes in Canvas to new quizzes in 2024, when we're forced to do so, and classic quizzes go away, at least that's the plan at this point in time, we're going to lose the capability to create surveys, personal surveys in Canvas. So we're going to need another way to do that, and Forms, Office 365 Forms gives us a way to do that. Kazala is a there we go. A mobile messaging app. If any of you have used Slack in the past or the messaging in Microsoft Teams, this is a sort of a version of something like that. Just trying to give you a basic idea of what they are. Lists is pretty obvious. You can make lists of all sorts and save them. OneDrive we've talked about, OneNote. Planner and Project down here are both project planning apps. Planner is the lightweight version of it that doesn't take 6 months to learn to use, as opposed to Project, which does. Project is more powerful and is great for managing large projects with large teams and so on, making sure that delivery dates are met and critical points in the path in the project are, you don't get bottlenecks, or you try to avoid bottlenecks in major projects and so on. Power Apps allows you to create your own applications. It's not something that everybody will want to do, but it does allow you to do that. And Power Automate allows you to automate certain tasks in Office 365. I'm just going to leave it at that. PowerPoint, we're familiar with. Let's see if I can get PowerPoint to come up here. There we go. And this is the web-based or cloud version of PowerPoint. I can start it. Yes, go ahead.
I know you said these are all alphabetical, but I don't see Publisher, or is it renamed something else?
Publisher is not in our mix.
Oh, no.
It still exists, but that was apparently not chosen. So that...
Photoshop isn't either.
Well, Photoshop's not an Office 365 application. That's another company. That's Adobe. And that's another matter. Well, I don't do Adobe. I had a real big feud with Adobe a number of years ago. So I don't do that. But the PowerPoint is recognizable as PowerPoint. And you can create and present presentations in PowerPoint from here, and access presentations that you have stored in your OneDrive from here. And there they are.
Dave, I have a quick question.
Go right ahead.
Are these versions of PowerPoint and Excel and Word, are they as good as the desktop versions that we have traditionally on our computers?
No.
Okay.
Okay. You want a straight answer? No. They're good.
That was good.
They're good. And I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to take Word as an example here in a minute. I'm going to show you the differences, some of the differences. So, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. No, they're not. But these are at least as good as, say, the Google apps of the same type, like Google Slides, for instance, versus PowerPoint, and indeed are more compatible with a lot of applications than the Google apps, and they're much more like the traditional locally installed apps that you're familiar with in the past in Microsoft Office. So they're easier to learn to use, or easier to use if you're already familiar with Microsoft Office. But the locally installable apps do have more capability, and there's just no way around that. But I'll be quite honest, there's very little that I do in PowerPoint, for instance, that I can't do with the web app. And in some ways, it's more streamlined. So, good and bad. Let's see. Project we already talked about. SharePoint is basically a site that allows you to create web page or websites in your Microsoft Office 365 environment. It's something you may or may not use with regularity, but it does have a good deal of capability. Stream is kind of like Canvas Studio. It's a video creation and hosting app. It's not generally as powerful as Canvas Studio, but it's not bad. I've played with it a little bit, made some videos and stored them there, and it works quite well.
Does it do closed captioning?
Yes, it does. It would be useless if it didn't. Yeah, good question. Sway is a, how to put it? Let's Google Microsoft Sway. But that's one I'm just. That's right, a newsletters app and presentations app, but specifically really focused on creating online newsletters. And it's very good at it, so I'm told. Microsoft Teams is an alternative to Zoom. It's one that many of you may be using in your departmental meetings and divisional meetings and so on, even now. It has most of the same capabilities as Zoom. It is tightly integrated with the rest of Microsoft Office, so there's some convenience in using it. It is, of course, not something that most of our students are especially familiar with. Because even when students get Microsoft Office 365, they're not going to get Teams as you do. All of you, both contract and part-time, will get access to Microsoft Teams and be able to organize your own teams and host your own meetings through Teams. Students will not have that capability. That will not, however, prevent students from joining a session, a class session that you run in Microsoft Teams. We've done one or two sessions on how to use Microsoft Teams already, and we'll undoubtedly do more as Office 365 implementation proceeds. But our students are all likely, of course, to be more familiar with Zoom and more comfortable with it, as is the entire world. You'll note that there is a Zoom app here, a Zoom icon, but all that does is take us to the Zoom website and to our Zoom accounts. If we're already logged into Zoom, if not, we'll be prompted to sign in to our Zoom, our SDCCD Zoom accounts. So that's just a shortcut to Zoom. It's not, Zoom is not part of Office 365, but it is so universally used that they felt they had to put a link to it here in order to make it easy for you to get to it. Visio is a drawing program that's best known for creating things like organizational charts. And good question, Lynn, or yes, I would think Sway would be a very good choice for that sort of thing. Probably a lot easier than, say, Google Sites to learn to use. I'm just guessing. Visio, again, org charts, flow charts, diagrams of all sorts with geometric figures and lines and connections and things like that. That's a really nice thing to have here. It's quite honestly, it's the first time I've ever had full access to Visio, or at least in 20 years. So I'm kind of excited about that. The Whiteboard app is just the Microsoft Whiteboard, which is a good whiteboard, which you can use in Zoom, though we also have access to whiteboards in Zoom as well. Word, I don't have to explain what that is. Yammer is Microsoft's social network. I think something on the order of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all those things. I don't know anyone who uses Yammer on a regular basis, but it is there. So these are the things that we have, at least all of us have, access to through Office. These are the apps that we have access to through Office 365, and they can all be entered through this page. So this is a great gateway to whatever app you might want to use or to learn at any given time. I'm sure there will be lots of sessions later on. I'm not sure exactly who will be giving them, but there'll be lots of sessions later on individual apps and in more detail, or in detail, so that to help you learn how to use these things. But that's not something we have time for tonight. Great questions, by the way. Keep them coming. Okay, let's go back. We've already done the tiers of service here through My Apps. One of the first questions we get is, okay, I create a document in Word or a spreadsheet in Excel or a PowerPoint presentation. How do I save the thing? Where does it go? How do I find it again? Pretty important thing to know. And that's not always obvious. Great thing about it is that, particularly in the web, the cloud apps, documents that you create are automatically saved to OneDrive while you work on them. This is a big deal. You create
I don't know what you're going nuts about.
I'm sorry? I think we've got something happening in the background there. Let me, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to mute everyone, but you have the capability to unmute yourself and ask your questions. You start a document in Word and you start typing it. The Word Cloud app saves it to OneDrive as you're typing, so that it's always up to date. And if the power goes off after you've typed 3 pages in Word, you don't lose a thing, maybe a word or two, as opposed to losing whatever you typed after the last time you manually saved it. That doesn't happen in Office 365 in the cloud apps. That's a big deal. So these, the cloud apps are going to save to OneDrive. And you have bukus of space in OneDrive. You're not going to run out of space in OneDrive anytime soon. And your files stored in OneDrive are backed up to the nth degree. It would be, you're never going to lose a document in OneDrive if your computer crashes or any other horrible thing happens. If an asteroid strike takes out the IT building at Miramar, your documents will still be safe in OneDrive. That's not to say that you can't screw it up. I've managed to lose 1 or 2 documents in OneDrive until I got a little bit more comfortable with Office 365 and OneDrive. But that was human error, not a failure in OneDrive. And it's a big deal. You can, we've already had this question tonight, you can save a copy to your hard drive as well. Let's see how that works. I'm just going to use Word as an example here. Let me go back to My Apps here and go into Word. Now I'll create a new blank document just for the heck of it. Okay, here's your Word ribbon and all your different ribbons here. Looks a lot. It looks quite familiar to the old ones. Deep must trust the clouds. What happens to your data if you leave SDCCD? If they end the thing, you should still have access to your documents in OneDrive. Those follow you.
Dave, I have a question.
Yes.
On this web version of Word, do you happen to have dictate on here? There it is. Thank you.
You bet. Good question. Let's see. I got a couple of hands up. Kathy?
Yes, you were talking about OneDrive and that we have a lot of space with the one that we have. I just happened to buy Office 365 before we got this free, because the one we had before, it was just too annoying to have to always log in. So I just broke down and bought my own. But my OneDrive, I think, is full because I keep getting the message saying that, do I want to buy more? Because I didn't realize it was automatically, because I never.
So that's your personal OneDrive.
My personal one, right. So
but you will have access to a district or an SDCCD OneDrive, which will have 1 terabyte of space. So you're not likely to ever fill that up.
Okay, so I can move some stuff there?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So if I just... All right, everybody has to watch me type. This is painful. My mother told me to learn to type. All right.
Why don't you dictate?
Huh?
Why don't you dictate?
I'm sorry?
Why don't you dictate?
Well, I could dictate.
It wouldn't be as much fun to see it, though.
That's one reason. Now is the time. Oh, let's get it back. Now is the time for all good men and women to come to the aid of their party. Good point. And turn that off before I say something I don't want to record. The voice speech recognition is phenomenal. It's available here. It's available in all versions of Microsoft Word, even the free one that you get on your phone. You don't have to type. If you want to create a large Word document and you don't find yourself at your computer someday, you can pull up Microsoft Word on your phone and dictate as large a document as you like.
How'd you do that?
It's right here in the...
oh, okay. Thank you.
You bet. Yeah, that's something to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's got some really cool stuff in it. All right. So, and notice the document's already been saved. It's already saved on OneDrive. Right now is document 3, but I can change that by just clicking on the name, and we'll call this Word Demo Doc. And press enter. And now that's saved in my OneDrive. And I can't lose it. If I want a copy of it on my local hard drive, which a number of you have asked about quite reasonably, you go to the File menu in the Cloud app, and you go to Save As, and you select Download a Copy. It creates a downloadable copy. You click Download a Copy again. You're asked where to put it in my documents, and save it there. And now I have a local copy of that file. So that's how I do a file at a time. That question came up very early on tonight, and I promised you I'd answer it at some point, and there it is.
Dave, I'm sorry. I just missed the click where you, oh, is the file underneath the blue band?
File,
okay.
Yeah, right under in the...
I see it, yeah.
Your File and Save As, and then Download a Copy. You can also download the document as a PDF, so it'll convert it to a PDF if you want it in that format. Or ODT is the native document format of OpenOffice. And we hear, well, what can I do with those files that I download to my local hard drive if I don't have a locally installable option or a version of Microsoft Office? Well, you can download OpenOffice, which is free. and open it in that. And you can even download the file as a native OpenOffice document, ODT file. So there are ways you can work with these files offline that won't cost you any money. So that's some consolation anyway for not getting the full downloadable versions of the files. I realize that's cold comfort. Okay. So that's, let's go back to the hard drive. So that's how we do that. We just saw that. If you have locally installed apps, if you are lucky enough to have that, the premium version of the full version of the apps, you can choose where you save your documents. You can save they'll want to save to OneDrive, but you can also choose to save them to your local hard drive instead. So you always have, one way or another, you have the option to get those files out of OneDrive. And you can also just go into OneDrive and download the file. Once you've put it in there, you can do that by just going to My Apps again, going to OneDrive. If I want a file from here, I can just click on the little context menu for that file and download it to my local hard drive. So there's lots of ways, and remember the sync on OneDrive. You can always have OneDrive automatically synchronize everything with your hard drive. So you don't have to worry. But again, your files are probably safer in OneDrive than they are in your local computer. But if you have them on the local computer, of course, if your internet connection goes down, you can at least access them. So it's nice to have both options. All right. One of the neatest things about Microsoft Office 365 is your ability to share documents with other people. You can share documents with collaborators. You can make them editable or view only. Or you can select anyone with the link and send the link to someone in an email. You can also share them with specific people rather than everyone or no one. And if you do that, the link that you send the people with whom you're sharing can't be forwarded. So you control who has access to a particular document. Let's see this work. Certainly that's something we need to go through. Let's go to that Word document I was playing with a minute ago. That magnum opus here, not. Let's see, where was that? I'm getting a lot of, there we go. A lot of windows, a lot of tabs open here in this web browser. It's all going, this is all running through Chrome, Google Chrome web browser. None of this is installed on my local, this particular app is not installed on my local computer. This is running from the web. If I want to share this, I have prominently featured up in the upper right-hand corner here, a share button. Click on that. I can click share. And the default sharing method is create a link that anyone that you can send to people, and anybody who has the link can edit the document, which is that's the most common reason to share. But if you want another set of options, just click right here where it says anyone with a link can edit, and you get all kinds of options here. You can share this with anyone to whom you send the link. You can limit it only to people in our organization. You can limit it only to people in our organization. to whom you send the link. If you accidentally send it to someone outside, if you select this option, they won't be able to open it. With people who already have access, well, that's, or you can share with specific people. We'll see how to do that in a moment. You can change whether people can edit or review or view. If they can review, they can suggest changes, but they can't make them. If they can edit, they can make any changes they wish. And if they can view, they can't make any changes. They can just look at it. And apparently, on a case of a PowerPoint presentation, which I didn't realize, apparently the links don't work if you set this. I'm going to look into that a little more. So you can make any of these choices.
You're drifting off, David.
Sorry?
You were laying back, so I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We can set a password on it so that people have it. We can control access in that way.
Can you put in the names of specific people?
You can. I'm going to show you that in a moment.
Okay.
On another
Thank you.
slide. And you can also block downloading so that they can look at it, but they can't download their own copy. So you have a lot of control over how you share your documents here. If you want to share with specific people, you enter their names right here.
You can put Kathy and Carlene.
Here's Carlin. And I can add as many people as I like. And there may be a bunch of Kathys. So if there's too many Kathys to go through.
There are never too many Kathys.
I never have enough Kathys. You can just keep typing until you find the person you want. And people you specify can edit, or I can set it so that they can only view it. I have all those options. And then I just send that, and an email is sent to those folks. With a link to that document. Or you can just do you can also just say anyone with a link can edit, and you can copy the link to your clipboard, paste that into the chat tool on Zoom, or send it paste it into an email and send it, and so on. So there are just multiple ways you can share documents with people.
But when you say anybody with the link, how do they get the link?
You would have to make it available to them. Perhaps put a link in a module in Canvas, or send the link to them in an email. Or you can have Microsoft Office send the link to them automatically.
So if you put a link in this chat, you could then say, send it to everybody with the link?
Yeah, I just put it in the chat and I said, send this to everyone in the chat, and the link pops up, and then you have it. That's how I did that. That's exactly how I did that earlier when I gave you a link to the PowerPoint presentation. So that's all there is to that. It's very, very, very powerful, but pretty easy. Now, we had the question, what if I have access to these locally installable versions of the apps, the premium version of the apps? How do I install them on my computer? Well, first off, of course, they're available only to contract employees. I have them, but I paid for them myself. I logged into my Microsoft account, went to office.com, and I think it's $60 or $70 a year to have that capability. We'll look at how you do this installation, how you access the installed apps, and we'll take a real quick look at a comparison between a cloud app and a locally installed app. I'm going to use Word as the sample there. Okay, so how do I install these things? Well, the best way that I know to do it, and I'm going to start another window here, a Chrome window, getting to where I can't see those tabs. I'm just going to go to office.com. If I'm not already logged into my Microsoft account that has access to Office 365, I'll be prompted to log in. And again, the login is your complete district email address at sdccd.edu on the end, and your district email password or portal password. And in the upper right-hand corner of the office.com site is an option to install Office. How do you know if you can do this? Well, you click on that button, and if you see other install options, you can't do that. They're going to try to sell it to you from here. If you have the installable version of the apps, if you have access to them, when you click here, the installation process will start. And it's a very simple and quick thing. It doesn't take any time at all compared to what installing Microsoft Office from CDs used to take. So it's very quick. To access the local versions, so here one, does this override it? If you have access to locally installable apps, you retain access to the cloud apps. So you can use either one. That's convenient. To access, the best way I know to access the locally installed apps is either from your start button in Windows or your application ribbon on the Mac. And you just, let me bring up my Windows 10 menu there. And here's Word. And if I click on that, and let me bring up something here that I don't have open. So here are all my Word documents that I've got in, that I've worked on recently. Here was my professional development report from last year. And here's Word. It came up on another screen. Let me pull that over for you. Here's what the locally installable version of Word looks like. And I've got the full ribbons. This is probably what you're really more used to if you're used to using a locally installed version of Microsoft Office. This is the sort of thing that we've been seeing for ages, as opposed to the cloud version of Word, which I can access from here as well. And let me just pull up and here's what your ribbons look like in the cloud app. Not as capable, but still very powerful. Now, for the rest of the night, we're going to be talking about how to use Office 365 with Canvas. We have an integration with Canvas that is already deployed. It's available in your Canvas courses already. And probably the first one you may notice is an Office 365 link in your course menu. But you may have to add that to your course menu. How do you add a link to your course menu? Well, that's in Canvas. Well, that's one of those things we have to do all the time. Let's pull up Canvas here. And I'm logged in, and I've got a sandbox course here I can play with. to add a link to your course menu that is already available to you, but it's not showing by default, you go to Settings and go to Navigation on the Settings page in Canvas. And here's your course menu. And there's no mention here of Office 365. But if I go down below the line here where all the things that I could add to my course menu that are available to me, but not in my course menu by default, I'll see Office 365. So I can just drag that up into above the line into the active part, or the student available part, or the regularly available part of my course menu.
Dave, I'm sorry, could you
Go ahead.
repeat that?
Yeah, I just look for the Office 365.
Before that, you go to Settings?
Settings.
And?
Navigation.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. And then drag the Office 365 app up above the line. And don't forget, as I do way too often, to save that. Otherwise, that change will not take effect. Now, when I look at my course menu here, I have Office 365. What does that give me access to? Well, if I click on it, it gives me access to my OneDrive. The integration, the Office 365 integration with Canvas is really a OneDrive integration. It doesn't give you access to the apps. It gives you access to your files, which is what you need in Canvas to share with your students and so on. So here's my OneDrive. I've got all my apps. If I want to bring one of them up, I can just click on it here. And it'll bring it up in my cloud app. So this is just a convenient way to access your Office 365 documents from within Canvas.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's really handy. It's a big time saver. That is by no means the only way that OneDrive is integrated with Canvas. You can insert links to Office 365 documents into any document you create in the rich content editor in Canvas. That means just a Canvas page, a Canvas announcement, a discussion post, the instructions for a test or an assignment, an essay, the instructions for an essay question in a Canvas test. In all of these cases, we have, or indeed even individual questions, multiple choice questions. You can insert Office 365 documents into the text of a test question, not just an essay question, but any test question. You can even insert them into answers, possible answers in a multiple choice question. Anywhere you have the rich content editor in Canvas, which is just about any place you're going to be creating a document of any sort, except for a Canvas message, which doesn't give you the rich content editor, to our dismay. But that's another story. Anytime you have the RCE, you can insert a Microsoft Office 365 document. Let's see how that works. I'm just going to go in here and create a page. That's the most common type of document. I'll add a page here and we'll call this a Office 365 example page. And so I'll just type something here. Here's a link to an Office 365 document. To effect this link, I go to the Electric Cord app, the apps app in the, let's see, get that out of the way, in the Rich Content Editor icon bar. And I click View All, and it will show me all of the external tools that I have access to in the Rich Content Editor. And one of those is Microsoft Office 365. What it is, in fact, again, is your OneDrive. So if I want to put a link to my Liquid Syllabus PowerPoint presentation in this Canvas page, I just click on that selected in that box, scroll to the bottom and click Attach File. That puts a link into the Canvas page or the discussion post or the announcement or whatever you're using the Rich Content Editor to create. And that's just, you just have to know that to use this icon to do that. Unfortunately, I haven't found a way to actually insert, like if I had this PowerPoint presentation on my local hard drive, I could insert it into this page and have it expand automatically so that students would see it rather than having to click on a link to bring it up. But there doesn't seem to be a way to do that if you're pulling it directly from OneDrive, but this gives them access to it. And the process is pretty simple.
Dave, I don't know if you're getting to it, but will Office 365 be easy for, like in the grade book, where you can do the editing, where you want to make changes to what a student says, and it has that kind of like an arrow, and then off to the side, it has like a balloon where you can write it out? Yes.
SpeedGrader, I don't believe there's any integration with the SpeedGrader.
Oh.
I'm going to show you all the integrations that I'm aware of that I've found anywhere. So I don't think so.
And
but
Dave,
you could always have that open in another window and copy and paste from it, certainly.
And yes, you see in chat, there's several questions about if we leave the district.
Yeah, I've seen those go by. I'm going to address that at the end. Basically, I'm going to have to tell you, I don't know. I don't know. On the other hand, I've left the district many years ago, and I still have access to my sdccd.edu OneDrive, but that is not necessarily a sure thing, because I am still, I still have an email address there and so on, and you will lose that when you leave. So I don't know. That's an excellent question. I will find out, and I will post I will email. I'll have the attendance list here, and I'll send an email to everyone with that answer, because I'm curious about that too.
Well, you're like Michael Corleone. You were out, and then we drew you back.
Exactly. Do you remember how that movie ends? Not good. Not good for Michael. Okay. So I'm not real happy with that analogy, but you make a point. All righty. So, or with that simile, I guess. But so that's how you can link an Office 365 document into the Rich Content Editor. We can also link them directly into Canvas modules. That's kind of cool. You do that, and you can just go dip right into your OneDrive and drop a link to it right into a module by going to a Canvas module. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Yep, that's right. And let's go to a module here. I've got a module for the Office 365 demo here. I just add an item to the module and start that in the usual way by clicking on the plus sign there. And I select as my type of item, an external tool. And that gives me a list of all the external tools that I have access to that I can link into modules in Canvas. There's a lot of them. But the one we're interested in is, of course, Office 365 is here. And if I click on this, what am I going to get?
OneDrive.
OneDrive, exactly. It just becomes the center of your life. And so I just pick a file here. Let's do a Word document. I select, and I can select multiple, can I select? No, I can only select one at a time here. And I select the document and I attach the file. And then one more step, I have to click Add Item to actually put it in the module. And there it is. And there's a link to it. If I click on it, it does make you load it in a new window. Kind of clunky, but there it is. Not much of a document, but there it is, such as it is, and what there is of it, there it is. So, and remember, your students will have these apps and be able to bring these things up in that.
Could you put a video link and a PowerPoint
Yes,
there?
yeah, you could. Okay. And play it from OneDrive. Yeah, I tried that and it did work. Not the best way to do it, but we'd certainly recommend you use Canvas Studio for that, but you could do it this way. Students also have the option, once they have their own Office 365, which, oh God, I hope it's not spring term, but this might be delayed. I can't wait to ask my dean about that, see if that's really, I remember him wondering how they were going to get all this done in time for fall term, but I can't wait to hear the answer to that. But sooner or later, students will be able to pull assignment submissions from their own OneDrive. It's going to work for them. There we go. Hopefully I've still got this login still good. Here I have a student account logged in to my tutorial sandbox. And if I go to the assignments here that this student has access to down here, way down here somewhere, is an essay assignment, I believe, right at the bottom. Yep. Student goes there and proceeds to submit this assignment by clicking either submit assignment or new attempt, since the students submitted it several times already. And they have the option to, this assignment has been set for online submission by file upload, which is one way you can set up a Canvas assignment. And when you do that, the student automatically has the option to just upload a file from their hard drive that they've created locally. Or they can upload something from Canvas Studio or from Google Drive, or since the Office 365 integration with Canvas was done, they would also have the Office 365 option. Good question there. I'll get to that in a moment. And they get their OneDrive and they can submit a file. I'm just going to pick something at random here. A document anyway. Lots of scroll bars here. All right, we'll just take that same one again. They select the document and attach the file and submit the assignment. And it said, okay, I'm processing your submission. You can navigate away, and it will be, when you come back later, that will have been submitted, and there it is. There's the receipt. That file was submitted from Office 365 and was received by Canvas. And a good question that came by was, well, can you check it for plagiarism with Turnitin? Yes, because the file, the origin of the file doesn't matter to Turnitin. It's a Word document, and that's a file type that Turnitin can scan, so it can scan that just as easily no matter where it came from. Will students have training on how to use Office 365? Really good question. Unfortunately, not one I have an answer for. I would certainly hope so. Certainly they'll provide them with all sorts of online video resources and things like that. But what beyond that, what the nature of that training will be, I don't know. We may be creating some videos for our on-demand site for students. Certainly we will do that for Office 365 Basics for students. You'll be able to find that in the student section of the Open On Demand site. But is that going to fall on you? Well, hopefully we're going to have lots of resources to which you can refer them. We do have in terms of, you know, how to submit an assignment in Canvas and things like that, they can call the student Canvas help desk or chat with them and get that information. In terms of actually creating documents and things like that in Office 365, I don't know what the plans for training students are. I do hope there are some. Really good question.
Dave?
Yes.
It's the problem with due dates on assignments.
Yes.
If a student submits a link to an assignment or to a Word file and then edits the document.
Well, no, they will submit a document, not a link, but an actual file will go into your assignment Dropbox. And then they will not have access to it after that.
Okay.
So they won't be able to edit it after they submit.
Okay. Now, on the other direction, if the syllabus link is put out there and then you revise the syllabus, will they know that the syllabus has been revised? Will students have any kind of idea that the syllabus has been revised?
Yeah, that's quite outside of Office 365, but yes, there is a switch you can set to notify students when a document is changed.
In Canvas?
Yeah. That's something we can look at here in a minute. We've got some Office 365 stuff to finish yet, but I think you can do that with a file that you've uploaded to the student.
You can, and then write the word revised on it too.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. All right, so that's how students would submit a document from their Office 365 once they get it. And finally, the last thing I need to make sure that we get through, student collaborations are possible in Office 365. Again, the students have to have their own Office 365 accounts to do this, but eventually they will. You're most welcome, Brenda. They can use the collaborations tool in Canvas. Let's take a quick look at that. Yep. There we go. Canvas, there we are. This is a tool that you can add to your course menu. It may or may not be there at this point, but we saw a minute ago how you can add an available link to your course menu. This is available in all courses. We click on collaborations, and students can do this themselves. Okay, you can do this for them and have them collaborate on something with you, but they can do this themselves and have and invite such of their peers as they choose to collaborate with them on a document. they set this up just by clicking the Add Collaboration button here. And they can collaborate either through Google Apps, that is, Google Docs or Google Slides or Google Sheets, or Microsoft Office 365. And they get a screen where they can set up this shared document. This allows them to set up a document that multiple people can edit and discuss without having to know the email addresses and thus the identities of their peers outside of Canvas. They can choose to set up a collaborative Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, or a PowerPoint presentation would be quite a common one. But let's just do a Word document. So they could work on a group presentation together this way. They have to give the document a name. I'm going to call it Sample Word Collaborative Document. Just trying to pick something I haven't used before. They can optionally provide a more detailed description. They don't have to do that. Then they can add collaborators, people with whom they're going to work. So I could add test student 1, say. Let's say I'm going to collaborate with test student 1. But I can add more than that. I can do others as well. And when I select them, they jump over to the right here, and those are the people that who are going to be able to collaborate with me on this document. So I save that. And here I have this sample Word collaborative document. To access it, I just click on the name of it. And I have to load it in a new window. I don't think there's any way to avoid that. And here's a Word document. I can choose to edit the document. Or if I have the desktop app, I can edit it in the desktop app. But if I just say edit, it's going to open up the cloud app. And now I can type stuff. My collaborator can come along. Let me find that Edge window again here.
Dave, remember the dictation feature?
Yeah, right. I'm keeping this very sparse. So. All right, here's a student account in this same course. I've got it logged into this same course. There's the collaboration. And that's a student that I named as a collaborator. And remember, students can set this up as well.
But did you say they did not have to use Canvas, or they have to do it through Canvas?
To do this, they have to use Canvas. And
Okay.
this makes it convenient for them. And that this student has been named as a collaborator on that document, which I created, but it could have been created by another student as well. And up comes that document. Yeah, I got to load it in a new window. And there's stuff. But now this student has the right to edit that document as well. And now everybody who has access to this document will see those edits. And any number of people can work on the same document at the same time without tripping over one another. And although it can get exciting if people are changing the same thing at the same time. But so it's quite possible for students to work on a project document simultaneously or on their own time, asynchronously, and make revisions and go back and forth and talk to one another about it and so on. And this is all made possible by Microsoft Office 365. All righty. That pretty much covers what I wanted to get through tonight. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of capability in this in Office 365. We'll be doing trainings on just on integrating it with Canvas and for a long time, but those are the basics. Gives you a rough idea of what you can do with it and how to get into it. Now I will take more questions. You've had great ones all along. Let me go and look at the chat tool here and see if there's probably some stuff there that I thank you for the kind words, everyone. To see if there's something that I didn't get to as we were going through. I'm looking through the chat right now. Can we make writable docs in this? Yeah, the forms tool will allow you to write fillable forms anyway. And I will make sure that you get a version of the PowerPoint slides that have active links in them, so you'll have all those links. Okay, there's support site. That was in there several times. Yeah. Whether your computer in your office will run this effectively or not is another matter, huh? Do we have the ability to convert or export Pages files to Word? That is a function in Pages. You can, if you're using Apple Pages, the word processor that comes with Mac OS, you can save a Pages document to Word in Word format and then load that file into your OneDrive. You can't do it in OneDrive, but you can do it in Pages. It has that capability. And that's a good idea to mention to your students as well, because some of them may have Macs and they have Pages for free. And hopefully soon, at least, they will have Office 365 for free. And if they're going to submit documents to you and you're using a PC, which there's no version of Microsoft or of Apple Pages that will run on a PC that I'm aware of. So you want them to submit things as Word documents. They do have that capability in Pages by saving the Pages document as a Word document. Office.com, yeah, we talked. Yes, the IT help desk is 388-7000. 619-388-7000. That is correct. Yeah, there. Good. We got that in there. Excellent. Great discussion going on there. Okay. The idea of using Sway for like a liquid syllabus sounds like a really cool idea. What happens if you leave SDCCD and they end the access to Microsoft 365? I'm going to find that out. That is something I don't know. If you save a copy of one of your Office 365 documents to your hard drive and you have an older version of Microsoft Office, will you be able to open it? As long as your older version of Microsoft Office is Office 2007 or later, you should be able to open these locally saved documents in it. That's a really good question. The document format, the DOCX and PPTX file and SLSX, XLSX file formats haven't changed since 2007. So you should be able to open them, and anything any Office version after Office 2007 or later, 2007 or later. And I still have an old cracked version of Office 2007 that I occasionally put on a computer that I just want to have some editing capability on, and I don't want to spend money on it. And it still works. Does the district have access to our OneDrive? Well, that's a really good question. Not to my knowledge. I certainly don't. I can't swear that a district Office 365 administrator would not, but I doubt it. That's another good question. So you have one on your local computer. Does the cloud app override it? Do you have two apps that you can use? You can use either one. If you have the locally installed version of the app, and you also still have access to the cloud apps, and you can use either one alternately to edit the same document if you want to. If you try to download a file to your campus, download Microsoft Office to your office computer, yes, you might have to have IT do it for you, because you, in many cases, don't have a local admin access to your office computers. I know that. It used to be you could buy Microsoft Office forever. Does that not exist anymore? Yes, it does. It's not Office 365, but you can still buy, I think it's Office 2021 or something like that. That's a locally installable version that's not a subscription. And you can get it from a variety of educational software vendors. But it would not be linked into the district system. It wouldn't work with Canvas and things like that nearly as well. There's that question about, do we lose access if we leave the district? That's got to be answered.
Well, you can buy it, can't you? Office 365?
Yeah, but I don't know if you can then get to your OneDrive documents on your district account.
Oh.
That's an exceptionally good question. I've got to get that answered.
Oh yeah, because I bought mine. So you're saying I can't like switch them back and forth?
Oh, you certainly can. You certainly can, but that means you have to keep copying files back and forth. Okay. People are not going to want to do that. If they're keeping all their files in their OneDrive, they're not going to want to have to copy every time they put a file in OneDrive. They're not going to want to have to copy it to their hard drive or copy it to another OneDrive instance. They're going to want to just be able to have access to those files. I do hope they have made some sort of plan for that sort of thing, and I intend to find out.
Yeah, because like if it's automatically,
that's probably the best question asked tonight.
Okay, but it does ask you before you start. Do you want your district email address or your personal email?
Yeah, but
address?
If you want to have access to those files in Canvas and things like that, you've got to use the district OneDrive account. And your work OneDrive account. And what happens if you don't work there anymore?
Yeah.
Very reasonable question. Oh, Lord, Sandra. Yeah, now you're going to have students asking, how do I submit this that's in my OneDrive? How do I submit this in Canvas? Well, we will have tutorials for them. I know that. But that doesn't mean they're not going to ask you that. I empathize. I used to be a systems person in a library many years ago, and I had a lot of those sort of things come up. Yeah. Great questions, folks. How about some more?
Well, they're thinking of other questions.
Mm-hmm.
Hank Beaver did say hi. He was in our school meeting.
Hank and I are gonna Zoom together on Saturday. Thank you very much for
Good.
taking that along.
Glad I got to help.
Well, since no one's saying anything, my question is when you
First
do
come, first serve.
I'm quick draw. All right. I know that there's a way when you there's a thing with your editing, like when you're editing a student's paper through Office 365. But I think you said there's no way to do it through the grade book, but
Through the SpeedGrader, I don't believe
the SpeedGrader.
Because when they submit a document to you that's stored on Office 365, you get the document file.
Right.
And once, if it's a docx file, it will come up in the SpeedGrader, and you can mark it up and download it to your local computer and edit it there and upload it back into the SpeedGrader and do all of that. But you can't
it will override what they had
document on their OneDrive.
Okay. Because I got really confused. I don't know if it was a different computer I had where it looked like there's have you ever seen cartoon balloons where there's a point from where the student made a mistake and then it goes off to the side and then you can write the corrections or comments on what they said.
Yeah, annotation in Microsoft Word. Yeah, right. You can't do that in SpeedGrader. You've got the markup tools in SpeedGrader that you can use, and you can put all sorts of comments in. And there will be little rectangles off to the side where your comments will appear to the students and to you. But you can't use the tools in Office 365, in Word 365 for annotation and so on in the SpeedGrader. You'd have to download the document to your local computer, load it into Word 365, make those changes. And I'm not sure those annotation capabilities are in the cloud apps. You might have to have the actual installable, the premium app on your local hard drive in order to do that. And then you'd have to save that document and upload it back to the to Canvas and share it with that student. So it'd be something of a manual process.
Okay, that's a lot of stuff. It's easier for me to just
it's a lot of stuff to do. It's easier just to use the tools that are built, and much faster to use the tools that are built into the SpeedGrader for that purpose. And they're quite powerful. Probably they will allow you to do everything that you would have time to do anyway. So when you have 30 papers to grade in the same.
And you do have a video on that, right? Would that be under SpeedGrader?
Do that in the SpeedGrader? Yes.
Yeah. Do I put the keyword SpeedGrader?
Yeah, that would be the best way to search for that.
Thank you.
I'd show you right now, but my website seems to be misbehaving. I got to get take a look at that first thing in the morning.
Hi, Dave.
I'm afraid it's pumpkin time tonight. I'm not going to make changes to that website tonight. Okay.
Hi, Dave.
Yes.
I have a question.
Go for it.
In my desktop, I have a Word 2013. But since I have 365 from the email, so therefore I cannot use my 2013 Word anymore.
You should still be able to bring up those apps. You'd have to bring them up from the Windows or a Mac?
The window.
Windows? You would, let me share my Zoom screen here.
Okay. I tried to click that, but I cannot work on that one anymore.
Okay, you should be able to go to Windows and the Windows 10 menu, and you should be able to find those apps, those earlier versions of the app somewhere here in your full app menu and pull them up. I don't have an earlier version on this machine. I wish I did. This would just run the 365. Install 365 app, but you should be able to find those in this list somewhere.
No, I have on my desktop on my here,
You have
icon here.
icons on the desktop. Yeah, and
Yeah.
those won't load now?
But I cannot open it.
You can't open the app.
Yeah,
Oh, I've never seen that
that's
happen.
weird to me. Since
That
then,
is
I
odd,
don't know.
yeah, because they're completely different applications. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's why. So why they shut down that one? Yeah.
Don't know. I wouldn't have thought that would.
Well, I have to ask.
I will try that with an older. I've got a machine around with an older version
I have
Office on it. I'll
2013.
try that and see what happens. Though I know my wife. I installed Office 365 apps on her computer, and she has Office 2007 on there as well. Still able to bring up 2007 and the new Office at the same time.
Yeah, I cannot. Wow.
That would be.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry.
I have to figure out myself now.
I'll
Thank you very
see
much.
what I
Anyway.
can find out about it.
Yeah.
Send
I
me
have
an
on my
email.
desktop.
If you'll send me an email and remind me of that, I'll do a little research and see if I can.
Okay.
find,
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Some
I'm gonna do it.
information on that online. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks a lot. Okay. See you then.
Thanks for coming.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I'll be here. I'll continue to answer questions as long as you have them. I got no place else to be tonight.
Dave, when you were showing us how to find the apps, there was something in Canvas that said Student Connect, and I can't remember what that is.
Student Connect is the student appointments section of the old Confer Zoom app. And that functionality was not available in the new Zoom, SDCCD Zoom app that we got when we migrated our Zoom accounts from Confer Zoom to SDCCD Zoom Management. So they created a new app called Student Connect that had the student appointment stuff functionality in it. Here's what that looks like. Go back to Canvas. Here's Student Connect. And it allows the students to book appointments without you having to do it manually. The students will be able to access this and do that. And this is just a piece of the old Confer Zoom app that they brought over. It's not visible in your course menu by default. You may have to go do that thing we already saw, go to settings, navigation, and I've already got it here, but it may be down here below the line. Okay. It'll be available to you, but it may not be showing in the course menu. If you want the students to be able to access it and you be able to see it, you have to drag it up above the line and then save the change.
Okay, so that's where they used to have, if you wanted to have your, instead of you having a personal Zoom account, it would preset it. Was that like the same construction?
No, this allows students to make appointments to talk to you on Zoom without you having to create the meetings separately and so on. This automates the process of student appointment scheduling.
Okay.
Not everyone used that. I never used it. But it was there. It was part of the Confer Zoom app that we used to have. And yes, people, when that went away, people were very upset that they didn't have that functionality anymore. So they pulled that functionality out and made a new app and called it Student Connect and put it back into Canvas.
What I meant was the Confer Zoom. That was where you could be in one account and the students would be in another, because that did happen to me.
That can happen with Zoom anyway. But no, the Confer Zoom app was just a convenient way to access your Confer Zoom account from within Canvas.
Okay.
Now that is done through the SDCCD Zoom app, which has most of the functionality that was in the old Confer Zoom app, but it doesn't have those student appointments. There's no tab for that. So that was moved to Student Connect. And here, if you put Student Connect in your course menu, the students can go in and sign up for times to talk to you over Zoom, office hours, basically. So that's what that Student Connect app is. I had somebody ask me about that earlier, 2 or 3 days ago, as a matter of fact. Where'd that go? I use that all the time. I need that. Well, it's still there. It's just called something else now. Excuse me. All righty. Oh, gosh, still 6 people out there. Goodness gracious.
I have a question, Dave, about syncing.
Good. Syncing, okay.
I'm sinking into the morass of having so many files in so many places. I'm trying to figure out the best practices. So here's what happened. So like right before the pandemic, I took a big old thumb drive and I backed up all my files on my office computer and brought them home.
Very good idea.
Where I have a Mac, and I stuck it in my Mac, and then I integrated all my files because I'm a librarian. And I made sure I had everything in one place. And then I also do have cloud backup so I don't lose anything, you know, eventually.
Good. That was going to be my next point. Yeah, good.
Now that I'm back in my office, all my stuff's at home. So what is the best way?
Well, the best way is to put everything in the cloud in a secure location where you can access it from anywhere. And OneDrive is a great, the OneDrive that you're provided with is a great option for that because it's secure. You have massive amounts of space. I seriously doubt your thumb drive was a terabyte in size. I don't think they make those. Well, they do make solid state drives that big, but they're, you know, big cards that plug into the computer and in the bus inside the computer. So you can take that gigantic thumb drive and you can copy that to your OneDrive.
So that was my question is there bulk uploads or something you could do? You know, if you're
probably the easiest thing to do would be to use the file. We're talking PC or Mac.
Yikes.
Office PC.
You know something? It would actually be both. So this is where it gets weird.
Well, yeah, it would work either way. You just need to use your file manager for that. Go to, let me pull up File Explorer here.
So ideally, I would like to be able to put everything in the cloud, and I wanted to take the files that I just started making on my office computer since I've been back in my office, then also incorporate the files that I've been working on for the past 2 some odd years at home.
Absolutely.
So I need to know how to get all those in one place.
Well, if you sync your OneDrive to your computer, which we saw how to do, it will create in your file manager an area that has your files from your OneDrive in it.
Okay. I'm actually glad to see that you've got OneDrive SDCCD and also OneDrive Personal because and it was getting even further messed up.
You don't want to use your personal one because it probably doesn't have very much space in it. Unless you paid for it.
That's true. And I wanted to figure out how am I going to get stuff off that one, because I think at home, before we had that terabyte drive, over the past 2 years, I think I've had a personal drive. So that was getting even more confusing to me.
You can just copy them using the file manager in the usual way. If I wanted to move everything from my personal OneDrive or copy everything from my personal OneDrive into my sdccd.edu OneDrive, I just select them all, right click, copy, go to OneDrive, to the district OneDrive, and just click on it, right click on the white somewhere and paste. And that will copy them over. It might take a while because it's actually uploading stuff and downloading to the internet and then downloading it again and so on. It may take a while, but you can just leave it running. Just don't shut your computer off. And you can move stuff between your OneDrive or from a thumb drive into your OneDrive that way.
Would you be able to drag it?
Then when you sync your OneDrive, the files that are on the computer that aren't in the cloud, will be automatically copied into the cloud. So you'll have those files wherever you need them. And a terabyte is a lot of file space. I seriously doubt you have anything approaching that on your thumb drive.
True. That's true. Can you highlight, drag and drop, or do you have to highlight, copy and paste?
You can do it either way.
Okay. Because I thought I tried doing one of those and I don't think it worked. So
Yeah, drag and drop is perilous. If you happen to drop it in the wrong place, you can have a real mess in your hands. I like to use copy and paste because I can select stuff specifically. I can see what I've selected and I know what I'm going to copy that way. I don't trust my hand-eye coordination to do drag and drop with large quantities of files. I've tried it once or twice and ended up with a ton of stuff in the wrong place and had to delete it and start all over again and so on. It was an awful mess. But copy and paste, I'm pretty sure will work.
Okay, I will do that.
I like the idea that you have OneDrive Personal and OneDrive S, but how did you program the difference?
I only have that because I have another Microsoft account.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not associated with the district.
I do too. So I think I need to do that then.
Yeah, you should be able to do that.
How?
Just by copying and pasting them between the two in File Manager, File Explorer.
No, I mean, how do I get a OneDrive that's personal and OneDrive that's SDCCD? How do I program that so that when I'm
That should show up, you have to sync your personal OneDrive with your computer. Remember that sync button in OneDrive. You have to go into OneDrive, your personal OneDrive, and hit sync and sync it with the computer that you're on. And then you should get this OneDrive personal space here. Sorry, wrong. I'm on the wrong screen. Excuse me. You should get this one.
Okay, mine will say OneDrive, and then I should just rename it OneDrive Personal.
Isn't it already?
It automatically names it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because like I said, I think mine is full because it said, do you want to buy more space?
Right, exactly. I hear you.
And I don't sync, so it must have done it automatically, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, if you're using Office 365, it will save to your OneDrive, whichever one you have associated with that Microsoft account. It will save to it automatically. Yeah, I found out the hard way. The same thing happened to me on my OneDrive, my district one. Before they gave me the 1 terabyte, I ended up with a bunch of, accidentally ended up with a bunch of Zoom recordings, local Zoom recordings in there, and they are humongous. And they immediately sucked up all of my my district work OneDrive until they started, giving everybody a terabyte of storage. I had like 5 gigabytes or something like that, and it sucked it right up. So I empathize, but that's not something you're going to have to worry about again. A terabyte is my entire computer here. My desktop computer only has a terabyte of hard drive space on it.
Right now I have my Zoom recordings because I film my student speeches saved to an external terabyte.
That's another
that I own, but I probably could put it on the cloud.
You probably put it on your OneDrive,
my OneDrive cloud. And you said it will do it automatic, but I have to go in
your work OneDrive cloud.
My work OneDrive cloud.
Yeah, and you can set that up in Zoom. You can tell Zoom where to drop those recordings files, and you can tell them to put it in your work OneDrive. You can even make a folder in there for it. Okay, and that's what I apparently did, not meaning to. Ended up with, I was learning to use OneDrive, and I somehow ended up with quite a few of those recordings, and I'm afraid to delete them until I'm sure that I've got them somewhere else as well. So I just haven't gotten around to fooling around with that.
Because I do have 2 OneDrives, so one of them probably is personal, but they just say OneDrive.
Yeah, they would both say OneDrive.
Okay. So I have to change the name.
You should see them both. in your file manager.
Yeah, but it doesn't say personal. It doesn't say.
Be it the Finder on the Mac or the File Explorer on Windows.
Okay, that's what I was saying, because I have 2 OneDrives, but I haven't gone inside them, but they don't say personal or SDCD. So do I need to, I need to rename them?
I don't know that you can rename them.
Oh.
No, doesn't seem to be any option to change that. I'm not sure how it ended up named that way.
Is there an option to disconnect that personal drive too?
Let's see. Can I get rid of that?
Yeah, disconnect would be a better idea.
Yeah, that's, I was hoping to get all my stuff in one place so I don't have to worry about it getting updated in the wrong one.
Yeah. And I don't want to put my personal stuff in with the
looks like I could unlink it from this PC.
Okay.
Okay. What? Wait. That's under settings.
That's under settings. Yeah.
Or is that activate?
That was, I right-clicked on the personal OneDrive, and I went to settings.
Okay.
And my personal OneDrive now also has a terabyte of. Because I bought it. Yeah. I subscribed, but my SDCCD EDU OneDrive should also have the same amount.
Oh, so that's the one they want me to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, here's the, here's my person, no, it's not, here's my, let's go back to that. Yeah, this is my OneDrive work account. I've used 8.2 gigs of 1,000 gigs of a terabyte.
Okay.
One location is syncing, and you can stop the sync.
Okay, that's what I'll have to do.
Unlink the PC.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Be very careful playing with that.
Thanks for bringing that up, Sandra.
I have lost things in OneDrive and tinkering with it, so I'm very careful about what I do in there. I lost half a month's worth of billing data for my consulting. I had to go back and reconstruct it from various scraps of paper and things like that. And that was 2 or 3 hours worth of work that I couldn't charge for because it was my own stupid fault. And I wasn't very happy with that. My wife wasn't either. She's somewhat inured to me spending time doing this if I'm getting paid for it. But if I'm having to spend time in the office in my studio without getting paid for it, she's not as happy about that. Wives are like that. Okay. Great questions. How about some more?
Well, I do have another question about documents.
Excellent.
When you opened the, so office.com and you went to that dashboard and it had a bunch of documents in it, yeah. What I found is anytime somebody sends me an Outlook email, and they send me a document in it, it shows up in my dashboard. And there doesn't seem to be a way to get rid of them. So my dashboard just constantly gets updated with
right. Flyers. I was going to say the attachments
yes.
in Outlook email automatically appear in your OneDrive.
Yeah. Yikes.
I don't know if you can stop that or not.
Yeah, that would be a good question to answer because I feel like I'm getting this fire hose of information.
Right.
And as I said before, I'm trying to consolidate 2 different computers, but I've also got like 4 different Google Drives and Dropbox.
Right.
I can't find stuff anymore. It's just it's everywhere.
Here we go. Save Outlook email attachments to OneDrive. Automatically save Outlook email attachments to OneDrive. Let's see.
I don't know if that was a setting somewhere at district level that it just automatically.
Yeah. How do I change the default save location for Outlook attachments? Ugh, that sounds complicated. There's all kinds of information on how to make it happen, not so much on how to make it stop.
At this point, I just ignore my dashboard. There's so much in it already.
Right.
And my colleagues were getting confused. They're like, how come I see a document with your name on it in my dashboard? And it's because I had shared the document.
Right.
Automatically went to their dashboards.
Stop saving Outlook email attachments to OneDrive. Let's search for that. How do I stop OneDrive from saving email attachments? Now we're getting somewhere. How to disable OneDrive when sending attachments. From webmail, click the gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, click Mail. Mail, attachment options, attachment preferences under for files. Let's see. Looks like Stanford has a help page on that. All right. This is going to chat. Stop OneDrive saving email attachments. I have not tried this, but now you'll know as much as I know about it. There's the link to the Stanford help page.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Looks like, yeah. And it gives you a step-by-step on how to do it. And apparently there are attachment preferences that you can change.
Are you talking? I think you're talking. Okay. When I log into my account, because it's now through Office 365.
Right.
And before I click, you're supposed to click the thing that says Outlook on the universal,
right.
global side. But before that, I will see attachments that I've given prior to that, before I click that. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what's happening? Because I was wondering why before I click that Outlook, I'll see any document I was working with, it's PowerPoint or Word Drive, or it was an attachment, and it'll be in the large, I don't know what to call it.
It'll appear here in your quick.
Yes, it'll appear right there in that section. Much bigger than that though, but yes, it'll appear there before I click that.
Indeed. And this is apparently a way to stop email attachments from automatically appearing here. It does sound like they've probably set that as a default in your Outlook accounts.
Okay, so that's what you were talking about, how to stop that. Or is this something different?
No, that's right. Files that you've recently opened from your OneDrive will appear here automatically.
No, I'm talking about files that I've emailed or worked on, because I don't use OneDrive.
So apparently there is a way to stop those files from automatically appearing here. And that's what that help document that I just put the link to in the chat tool is about.
Oh, I'm so glad I stayed, because it was a problem, but I forgot that it was a problem.
I don't warranty that. I haven't tried it. And
Okay.
apparently, well, I'll be able to test that when they eventually migrate my email account to the the Outlook, the new district Outlook Office 365. Right now, my email is still on the old Exchange server, hasn't been migrated. I don't know when they will, so I can't really speak very much to email questions tonight, because I don't have access to the email that you have access to right now. I had been had several emails go back and forth today asking about that, and Brian Weston finally got an answer from IT about that, and they just haven't migrated my account. They did say yet, so maybe they're going to at some point, because I'd like them to, because I'd like to have 10 gigabytes of email storage space in my district email account.
That was Sandra that asked that question, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that what, because like just above where it says Teams, that's where the icon for Outlook comes. And so I will see all of these files before I click the Outlook to go into my mail. So is that what you were asking Dave about?
I'm trying to find, I've got so many windows open on my computer right now. When I log into office.com,
right.
I see
what I'm showing right now.
Like, yeah. Right. Before you click the Outlook on the left side, which will come above Teams.
Right.
I will get all these files that I've opened or documents.
Right. And let me see here. Hang on.
And I got to also get email attachments.
Yes. Email attachments.
And that's
what you were asking about.
And that's what Sandra was trying to.
Yeah. Because
they know how to stop.
The first two documents I have in that list is an OTF East Village flyer that I got from some.com and an honors open house that Kelly sent. So I'm seeing all these, and Dave, you're not seeing.
You don't really need those in your OneDrive,
right?
No.
Dave can't see them because he's not connected to Outlook and his.
But that is what you were talking about getting rid of, because I have that problem too.
Yeah. Yes. I can't show you that because you notice I don't have Outlook here.
Right.
I was trying to say
migrated my email account yet. At some point they may, I suppose.
And that URL that you sent is actually something slightly different. That's when you're on the sending part of it, like the person sending would be able to attach it a different way. And
it's not what you're receiving, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but you are having the same problem, but that's not the same answer. Okay.
Yes. And you know, the one thing I did notice, because you've got all recently opened, shared, and favorites. I mean, I guess if you only wanted to see your recently opened stuff, that's not going to show unless you open that attachment.
That's if you open the attachment, it'll show under recently opened. But
okay, Dave, before you change the screen, I want to see this one that's building a museum.
Oh, this was a background I used to use in PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. I love that.
That is the great atrium in the National Building Museum in Washington, D.C., which was previously the Veterans Pension Administration building, built just after the Civil War to administer the pensions of Union soldiers. And it is the most amazing atrium I've ever seen in any building. It's an incredible building. It's one of those off the beaten track things in DC that, you know, it's not part of the Smithsonian or anything like that, but they have exhibits about the building trades and construction techniques and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But they have this marvelous huge atrium, and there's a little snack bar and so on, and you can go in there and you can get something to eat, and you can just sit in this atrium, and it is one of the most beautiful indoor spaces I've ever seen.
Can you put it in the chat?
The
picture?
The picture, let me see. I should be able to do that. I should be able to attach this file. Let me see. Need to go back to OneDrive.
I mean, it looks like something from ancient Rome.
That's just a picture I took from one of the galleries.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm going to share that.
You're demonstrating how to share.
Yeah. Let's see if I get this right. I should be able to copy the link to it. Anybody with a link can do whatever they want. Copy that to my clipboard. And now I should be able to paste that into the chat tool. Let's see, Atrium, I just called Atrium. No, that was one of the most fascinating things I saw on my last trip to DC. And just a beautiful building. It was so cleverly, and it's one of the largest brick buildings ever built. Brick buildings today just have a brick facade on them, and inside they're either 2x4s and frames, or maybe I-beams and things like that. But this building was built entirely out of brick. And it's one of the heaviest buildings ever built. The ground is sinking into the ground and so on. It's so heavy, but it's massively sturdy and so on.
What's the name of it again?
It's the National Building Museum.
Oh.
It's in building trades. And they had some fascinating exhibits, but the most fascinating thing was just the building itself. They even the stairwells, they didn't have elevators when this building was built. So they have staircases, and of course, a lot of as the pensioners aged and so on, they got infirm and it was hard for them to climb steps. So they built stairwells into the building that have very gentle risers on them and very deep. So it's so easy to go up and down the staircases in that building. It's amazing. And it was just and that picture was one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever taken. So I used to use that as a virtual background in Zoom.
That was good photography too, Dave.
Oh, it's just my iPhone, what you call a snapshot, but I got a good angle on it. And I do love that shot. So I use that an awful lot.
I'm looking at the link that you sent. So it has a SharePoint address in it. But that's different from the SharePoint.
No, it's the way that these files are shared through the SharePoint app. They're located in OneDrive, but they're shared through SharePoint. Okay. I think I set that up, so you should be able to get to it. Let me know if it gives you any static about accessing that file.
Oh, it opens
because I'm not entirely comfortable with this process yet either. So I'd appreciate it if you let me know if you have any trouble accessing that.
Well, it opens it up as a PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, it's a PowerPoint presentation.
But the point is, ironically, we get to see it when we want to. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see it anytime. You can make a copy of it. You can do whatever you wish. You could even, I suppose you could even delete it, since I get edit access, but I do have other copies of it, so I'm not worried.
Around all those floors, are those all like offices or something?
Offices, suites of offices, exhibit areas. They use this building for all sorts of stuff because, of course, eventually the purpose for which the building was built expired. All the Union veterans of the Civil War died, and they no longer had a purpose for this building, so they repurposed it. I think it's been through 2 or 3 different roles over the years, but now they've made it into a museum for the building trades.
And what was it originally?
It was the the Union Veterans Pension Administration building.
Oh, okay.
After the Civil War.
And those people in the middle, is it like those are people, right?
Yeah, they're the people inside the circular desk are the docents and the staff of the building, and the people around it are just people who wandered in off the street like me. You can just wander in there. Like I say, there was a little snack bar. You could get yourself something to eat, and they had chairs and tables around and so on that you could sit at and look out at that view. And those columns are just insanely beautiful. That picture really doesn't do them justice.
And I guess the stairs are somewhere under those.
The stairs are on the sides, yeah, and
Okay.
they go up to the galleries, and it's worth it just to go in there and go up the steps. You never ever have an easier ascent up a staircase than in that building, and it was just brilliantly designed. So that it has a lot of unique architectural features in it, and I guess that's why they decided to make it the building museum. The National Portrait Gallery has a beautiful atrium as well. That's another one that's kind of off the beaten path.
It's good they saved them.
Yeah, it's wonderful they didn't. Of course, given how solidly this building is built, to take it down, I think they'd have to use a nuke. You couldn't bring a wrecking ball in, it just bounce off. So I guess they didn't have a choice.
It's kind of interesting seeing that fourth floor. It looks more like a catwalk.
Yeah, it's I think the administrative offices and whatnot are up there. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of different organizations with offices in there as well. They use it for a lot of things because it's an immense building. But I'm so glad that you're right. I'm so glad they saved it rather than just raising it somehow, because that atrium is worth seeing all by itself. Even though that, talk about a huge waste of space. I mean, that's not a non-functional space, but the aesthetics and the acoustics in there are amazing. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm running on. How about some more questions?
Well, I don't know if it's an office one, but can you just quickly show how to do a grade and speed grader?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll answer anything that I can answer. How to grade and speed grader.
Like, I know how to grade, but like to make comments, basically, where it shows
comments, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the grade. That's the most important part of the grading process. Just giving them a grade they don't really learn much.
Yeah, because I know there's like a comment section I can say
how they why they got the grade they did. Exactly. And how to improve it is what really makes an assignment in Canvas a learning experience as well as an assessment.
Yeah, especially that one that shows the balloons.
That's what we mean by authentic assessment. So let me find that. I've got a
annotations. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the markup tools. The
markup tools. Yeah.
Right. Let me find one here. I think I've got some stuff in this tutorial sandbox I could use as an example. I'll go to grades and see if I don't have something that hasn't been graded here that I can.
Oh, that last thing you have with the atrium is still showing, or is that just me?
It's the chat box. You'll have to move it out of the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm still sharing my main screen. Okay, now that chat box should be gone.
Correct.
Let me find something. Personal statement essay assignment. Hopefully this has got something in it. Here's a submission icon. I click on that, click the right arrow, and open the speed grader. I should see the submission. Takes it a second to come up. Looks like it's going to work. All right. So this is a PowerPoint presentation, it looks like. But that'll do. PowerPoint presentation one of my good friends created about her nature photography. But this is something that a student might submit to a course. Here are your annotation tools. These will be available only if the student submits uploads a file to the assignment, and the file is one of a few types, mainly Office documents like Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, or PowerPoint presentations. In this case, a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I've got several annotation tools here. Here's the point annotation tool. If I just want to mark if I want to drop a pin here.
Like, what is this?
Exactly. What is this? Or
identify this, or
well, remember this is feedback to the student on their submission.
Oh, right.
It's not another. So
always start with the positive and then
always start with the positives. Beautiful, but what is it? Actually, I think she does show what it is, but anyway, that's so there's an annotation that's specifically dropped, the pin dropped right here.
I saw red dots going from there, but did they disappear or were they too small? It looked like there's something that like dots that went, or
yeah, there's a little, if you mouse over it, there's a little dotted line that connects the pin to the comment.
Can you make it larger?
The dotted line, no, I don't think so.
Well, maybe the students are still young.
But it would be more obvious in a text document or something like that, where you're not. But if you mouse over the comment, you'll see the dotted line that notes exactly where the pin is dropped. So that's called a point annotation.
Okay.
Here's a highlight annotation. I can just highlight a section of text and then comment on it.
Okay, good. It has little dots to where your comment is.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you mouse over either the highlight or the comment, it'll connect the two and you can see what it's referring to.
Okay.
Here's a free form text comment that you can put in. And that'll be there, just loose text, and you can make it bigger, and you can change the color and things like that.
Okay.
Strike through.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
It makes sense when you say it.
I think there are 23. I have no idea.
Okay, I get it though.
But you can strike through. You can strike through an error and replace it.
I thought that was a symbol.
Or you can free form. You just draw a circle around something and you put in a comment. Okay. And finally, you've got a rectangle. If you want to highlight an entire area, whoop, I went too far. And leave a comment about that whole thing. You can do that.
Okay.
So those are your annotation tools that you have in the SpeedGrader. Again, you can only use them if the student submits a file that is one of about half a dozen different types, and mainly Office documents. If they upload a file that is created in Microsoft Office, which they could do from their Office 365 in the spring, if Carlynn's right, and I'm afraid she probably is. And then you can mark it up like this. Think of blue penciling. Okay. And indeed, your freeform one here defaults to blue, standard editing editor's color. And you can, you can draw stuff, and you can, if you have a graphics tablet, you could even write freehand over this and and make marginal notes for them and so on out here. So it's it's quite a powerful feedback tool. Then you also, of course, have the ability to type general comments about the whole session, and you can do speech recognition and dictate comments, text comments, or you can upload a file with your comments in it that you've created. Like if you've downloaded their document and you've done some annotations in Word, you can attach that file back to the grading record so that they can see the annotations you did in Word. Or you can leave them a video message. Wow, those are beautiful photographs, Rosalie. I knew how good you were from the Christmas cards that you sent that had some of these photos on them, but that PowerPoint presentation really brings home the quality of your work. Nice job.
But don't forget to cite your sources.
Yeah, or you can say anything you want. Then you save the media and it ends up attached to the grading record. You can come back in and look at what you did later. And the students can go in through their grades tool and pull up their feedback and play that video back to see what you had to say about why you graded that assignment the way you did. So you just have all kinds of ways that you can provide detailed feedback to students on their assignment submissions in Canvas. And
I sure hope they never require us to do that.
Well, yeah, that would be, it takes some time. It's the rough equivalent of sitting down with every student.
Yeah.
Going over their submissions with them verbally or in other ways.
And we don't get paid for it as adjuncts.
That's right.
Say that probably doesn't. So that's there's a lot of capability there, but there's time involved. So actually, the video comments are a lot faster to do because you just speak off the cuff and rip it off and go to the next one really quickly. That's faster for me than typing it out for sure, but it still takes time. And I do understand what you're saying.
But the students don't always know that it's there. They just see a grade and they say, oh, it's something on the side.
That's where things like announcements in Canvas come in, where you say, be sure to look at your assignment. When you go into your grades tool, look at your grades, look at your feedback. It's there for you. And I've taken the time to create that so you can learn from your mistakes or learn how to do an even better job next time, even if you got full credit.
And you do have a tutorial for this, right?
Yes, we do have a tutorial that shows students how to access the feedback that they get from their assignment submissions.
And where's the best place to put that for students? In the global tab or on the home page?
Well, no, they find it in the grades. They click on grades.
No, I mean a tutorial on how to check comments and things.
Yeah, I would probably put a link you could create a module that had resources in it that you could put a link in there, or you could put a link to make a Canvas page with a bunch of links to different resources that you link into a module somewhere. Would be another way to do it.
I never use Scantrons because they don't give any feedback, but I give out tests that they fill them out, on paper, and I grade them by hand.
Right.
And I always tell them, look at the comments I made so you can learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, and this is the electronic equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least if I hand them the piece of paper, I feel more likely that they'll read it than looking something up here.
You can't be sure that they'll look at it, right?
Right.
On the other hand, you can do things like hide Easter eggs in there. Oh, and by the way, if you read this, if you go and do this, I'll give you an extra point credit or something.
Yeah, you can tell they didn't read it when they make the same mistake. You go, I told you not to do that. Go, oh, I didn't read it. I didn't know.
But I do understand the finite nature of time, and there is a limit to how much of this you can do. But Canvas does give you some fairly efficient tools to do that in. And if you were like, if this were a major writing assignment and it counted, 40, 20, 30, 40% of their grade, it would be worth taking the time to give this kind of detailed feedback on it. You couldn't do that for every assignment.
And it also makes a difference where the contract people have their own offices right there at school.
Right.
Their computers and a nice big desk and everything to have all this on. And it's a lot different when you're hauling things back and forth.
Believe me, I understand.
Yep.
And you have to go home and then remember to take everything out and do it.
Right. Though, again, saving stuff in OneDrive can help with that too.
All right. Thanks for demonstrating.
You are certainly welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming. I do appreciate you all showing up tonight.
And I may not have... Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh. So it is.
And it's what, 11 at your place, Dave?
No, it's 9 o'clock. I'm in the Pacific time zone, just like you all.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
All right. Then I won't feel so bad.
You don't have to feel bad. And they are paying me to do this. You do not ever have to feel bad for me. All right.
Okay. All right.
This is a service that they provide you and they pay me to do it. And I enjoy doing it. So I get paid for something I love. So it's a win-win-win-win-win. So don't worry about it.
Well, your groupies are always here if you need to, demonstrate technology.
Well, I think it's
nice to see familiar faces. So.
Well, what's funny is two different people. Well, Kathy and I know each other now through all the Zoom classes we've seen each other at. And then two different teachers saw me this week. They follow I have classes, a Monday, Wednesday class and Tuesday, Thursday. And the people that follow me both recognize me from Zoom classes we've been in.
Right. It is a sort of social life, right? And the only virus you can catch is a computer virus. It probably won't kill you.
I hosted a Flex class 2 Thursdays ago, week before Flex. And it was I was the host, and it was definite learning because I hit the record, but like a lot of people, I thought the little camera that's clear up in the upper left-hand corner meant record. So I didn't get it started to record as soon as I should have. And then I forgot to turn it off when we were done.
I've made every mistake you can make in that regard. I do empathize.
Well, then, like we've been around here chatting and we could have turned the record off because
but those questions were great. I mean,
but in our case, they changed the subject completely.
Oh, I see. I
forgot to turn it off.
Right. So you have to go in and edit the recording to take all that out.
Oh, and I don't
Particularly if somebody says something they don't want shared with the world.
I don't know how to edit the recording. I don't know how to.
I am going to stay tuned in September.
Okay.
I am going to do a session on how to edit your Zoom recordings.
Okay.
With a free, simple video editor that will handle 2-hour-long Zoom recordings. It's the first one I've found that's both free and easy and but has the capability to edit Zoom recordings. And that's coming up in September.
And then we're supposed to post it to YouTube so that we can then post it to our website.
Right.
So include all of that.
Okay. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
It doesn't do you any good to edit the recording if you can't share it with your students.
Right.
That will be part of it. Yeah, that'll be part of it.
This one is interesting. It's aimed at the adjuncts, and it is, should you go after a PhD, you know, a doctorate? And I had a contract instructor who's really nice and cares about adjuncts. She did the presentation, and boy, she was thorough, and she brought up good points. Like, before you even think about it, look at to see if it's worthwhile. Here, and she on her share screen, she put up the pay schedule, and you could look for an adjunct if you got your doctorate, how much more you would get. With me, it'd be $3 an hour.
Yeah, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, no, that was just one subject.
I mean, my doctorate is in organic chemistry, okay?
Yeah.
Which has absolutely nothing to do with what I've made a living at for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
But that ticket opened doors for me that I would not have been able to go through otherwise.
Oh yeah, that was part of the discussion.
Yeah, I hope she mentioned that.
Yeah, she did, because she pointed out
more than just
immediate the money.
Immediate changes in compensation to it.
Oh yeah, and so many places it gives you credibility.
Right.
It might help you get published. It might help you on consulting. It might help you get a job. It might not, but it
might help you be an insufferable beast.
Yeah, Kathy's got hers.
Old rule of thumb.
And still an adjunct, so.
Never, if anyone ever comes up to you and introduces themselves as Dr. So-and-so, and they're not wearing a white coat, run.
You're a paper doctor. Yeah, my cousin's a real doctor, and I'm the paper doctor.
I've actually heard people say, "No, I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm
exactly." Well, yeah. Somebody said, "I got this pain in my shoulder."
Yeah, but it was a really interesting one. Yeah. Just the process that she went through, and you know, it's like an hour-long presentation. So we want to post it where other people can see it.
Well, that's wonderful. Let me know if I can help.
And we'll delete this last part, right? Bye.
That's something I do all the time. So let me know if I can help.
Well, I delegated it to somebody else. Knows how to do it.
She who must be obeyed. Huh?
No, it's
good for you.
Bye, Kathy. No,
y'all take care. Have a great weekend. I'll see you again soon, I hope.
Okay, yeah.
Bye-bye.
It's a teacher down at City.